ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधं कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता कृष्णांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, so welcome everyone to our Bhakti Vaibhav class. We are discussing from third canto. We are on chapter second. So in the first chapter, we heard at the end of the second canto, Parikshit Shukdev Goswami is about to describe Padma Kalpa. But the sages of Naimisharanya, they asked Shukdev Goswami, please wait. Enough of philosophical discussion. We want to hear some leela, some pastime. So he told in the first canto, 13th chapter, that Vidurji came back after pilgrimage. So please tell us which all places he visited and why he left his home. This home was actually a place of pilgrimage because Krishna came there. And we know that we have heard that he met Maitreya. So there must have been some wonderful philosophical discussions. Can you please tell us all that? So in response to this, Sud Goswami, he tells that actually Parikshit Maharaj also asked the same question to Shukdev Goswami. And he starts describing what happened later. So he describes how Duryodhan, he threw Vidurji out of the palace and then he went to all the holy places and ultimately he went to Prabhasa. There he came to know about the destruction of family of Krishna, Yadu dynasty and Kauravas and Pandu, all the armies of the Pandavas. He heard all that. And then he reached this place where Uddhava was doing his meditation on the bank of Yamuna. And there Uddhavji, then there Vidurji asks Uddhav about all the pastimes of Krishna. So in response to that, we are on 8th verse. So Vidurji, just a minute. So Uddhavji, he tells Vidur that actually what to speak of our situation. Krishna sun has set. Krishne Dyumani Nimaloche Girne Shvajgarenaha. Our house has been swallowed by the great snake of time. So what can I say about our welfare if Krishna is not there? Because our everything was Krishna only. Bhavayanastam Bhavavishwa Bhavan Tameva Mata Surit Patim Pita Tvam Sadgururna Paramam Chadaivatam Yasyanu Kritino Bhuvima. All the Dwarkavasis, they are saying, you are our everything. So therefore, Vidur says, if Krishna is not there, then what can I say about our situation? And then he speaks a very, very sad verse. He says, in this entire universe, actually this entire planet is unfortunate. More unfortunate are the Yadu members, the members of Yadu dynasty. Durbhago Batalokoyam. This entire world has become unfortunate because Krishna has left. And more unfortunate are Yadus, because they didn't realize, they could not identify. Ye Samvasanto, or although they were staying with Krishna, Navidu, they could not identify. And he gives the example of just like fishers were thinking, oh, moon is like one fish only. So that is how he described this verse. Okay, we'll start from the 9th verse. So the inhabitants of Dwarka were not devoid of the knowledge of Lord's power, as were the inhabitants of Gokul. Uddhav is saying they didn't know the glory of Krishna, but they knew. They were not. They had Aishwarya Gyan. Goloka, Vrajvasis, they didn't have Aishwarya Gyan. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the inhabitants of Dwarka, they were not devoid of knowledge of Lord's power, as the Brajvasis, because Brajvasis had pure sweetness, pure love. How then can Uddhava say that they did not know the Lord's powers? So Uddhava is explaining in the next verse. Ingitagya puru praudha ekaramashcha satvatam rishabham sarve bhutavasam amamsata.
The Yadus were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. Over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxation. And still, they were only able to know Him as the one supreme who dwells everywhere.
Ingitagya. They were all Ingitagya. In the Ingitagya means they were all experienced. Puru Praudha. They were learned. They were expert in psychic studies. Eka Rama cha Satvata. And over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations. First canto describes how Pandavas, they were always with Krishna. What is that verse where it says Krishna was doing everything with Pandavas? In the 18th chapter, this verse comes. In Bhagavatam also, this Bhagavad Gita also, Arjuna is saying Shaya Ashana Atana Vipattana Bhoj. Actually, Bhagavatam only, 15th chapter. Arjuna is telling, I was staying with Krishna, walking, sleeping, dining with Krishna, but still I could not understand who he is. So although they were with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations, but still they could realize only that Krishna is the Paramatma. Bhutavasam amsata. Bhutavasam means the all-pervading Paramatma. That's how they could understand the Supreme Lord. They didn't realize that He is the Supreme Bhagavan. So Prabhupada Chakravarti Thakur writes, because they had great intelligence, Puru Praudha, they knew what was in Krishna's heart, what to speak of the sweetness of His form. But in spite of that, they did not know His powers. They enjoyed with Him individually in resting, sitting, and other activities. They thought of Krishna, who was present as their eternal master and the best person among themselves, as Paramatma. But they did not know Krishna as Swayam Bhagavan. That was the deficient thing in Yadus. They did not know that He is the same Bhagavan, same Paramatma, Narayan. So Prabhupada writes, the Vedas say no one can understand Lord by his limited intelligence. Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhya. Yadavas were all exceptionally learned and experienced, but they could not understand that He is the original personality. In Vrindavan, however, Lord was not even known as the Paramatma, because residents of Vrindavan were pure, unconventional devotees of the Lord. Aishwarya Gan was not there. They were only having pure love for Krishna. So then, says, still Yadus are glorious. Although they did not have this knowledge that He is Bhagavan, but still they are glorious because they had the opportunity to associate with the Lord and serve Him. And such devotees are different from atheistic people, and that He is describing in the next verse. Who are the people who are atheists? Devasya mayaya sprishta
देवस्य मायया
केचान्यत्र
सृष्टा
सदाश्रिताः
केचान्यद्
भ्राम्यते
असदाश्रिताः
धीर्न तद्वाक्यै
काम्यते धीर्न तद्वाक्ये
आत्मन्युपतात्मनो हरौ
आत्मान्योपतात्मनो हरो.
Can the words of persons bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered souls?
So, Devasya Mayaya Sprishta, under the influence of Lord's illusory energy, Yecha Anya Asad Ashrita, people, they take shelter of demoniac mentality. Asad Ashrita, illusory energy, they take shelter of that. Brahmyate Dhirna, but those who are sober people, they have intelligence, they can never deviate. Atmani upatatmano harau, because they are completely surrendered souls. So those who are surrendered souls, they never get deviated by this material illusory energy of the Lord. Brahmyate dhirna tadvakye. They never get bewildered by the maya of the Lord. So there are two kinds of bewilderment. There is a bewilderment of envious soul and a bewilderment of surrendered soul also. So surrendered souls are sometimes bewildered by the will of the Lord. Just like Parikshit Maharaj was bewildered, just like Arjuna was bewildered. But envious souls are bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord. Because they want to establish their supremacy, therefore they get bewildered. So Prabhupada writes, Krishna is Supreme Lord according to the evidence of the Vedas. He is accepted by all acharyas, including Shripad Shankaracharya. And after a few lines, Prabhupada writes, the Yadavas were only partially cognizant of the Lord, but they are also glorious because they had the opportunity to serve the Lord. Yadavas and other devotees are different from those who wrongly calculated him to be ordinary people. So different people, they understand Krishna in different ways. Some people say, oh, Krishna was a powerful politician, very wonderful. Some people say he was a diplomat. Some people say he was a social reformer. He married 16,000 abandoned girls, And some people say he was a wonderful scholar and thinker. He spoke Bhagavad Gita. But very few could understand that he is Supreme Lord. So therefore, Yadavas are definitely, much more glorious than all these people. Such persons are certainly bewildered by illusory energy. They are hellish and are envious of the Lord. Illusory energy acts very powerfully on them. But in spite of their elevated mundane education, such persons are faithless. So then Prabhupada writes how they want to establish that Krishna was ordinary man, he was killed by a hunter. And so many stories, they keep coming up. And that is the purpose of that story being there in Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is compared with 4 things. What? What are they? Lamb,
sun, fruit,
Mohini Murti. Why Mohini Murti?
It's Krishna's disappearance is bewildering.
So those who are atheists, they don't want to accept Krishna as a supreme Lord. They also get something in Bhagavatam to, endorse their beliefs. And that's how Bhagavatam bewilders them also. And then Prabhupada writes, according to atheistic point of view, Lord Krishna's family was vanquished due to curse by Brahmanas for the sins committed by Krishna. Because Krishna, he plotted this whole destruction of the Dhritarashtra dynasty, the sons of Dhritarashtra. But all these blasphemies do not touch the heart of devotees because they know perfectly what is what. Their intelligence regarding the Lord is never bewildered. But those who are disturbed by the statements of asuras, they are also condemned. This is what Uddhava meant in this verse. So when there is love, then there is a separation after the person is gone. But when there is envy, there is hatred and blasphemy after the person is gone. So those who are envious of Krishna, they started blaspheming and criticizing Krishna. Just see, he was an ordinary person, he left his body. So that's how, if our philosophical understanding is not perfect, then if somebody says anything wrong, anything contrary to our belief, then we'll be disturbed and confused. That is a Kanishta Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari means, what is the definition of Kanishta Adhikari? That verse. Okay, any translation? Who is a Kanishta Adhikari? According to Bhagavatam, in Nectar of Instruction also, Nectar of Devotion also, Ishopnishad, सब में है वो. Kanishta Adhikari कौन है? Who is called as Kanishta Adhikari? General understanding.
Whose faith is not fixed.
Okay, who has no philosophical understanding. Archayam eva hariye pujam yah shraddhaye hate. Nadat bhakteshu cha anyeshu tad bhakta prakrita smrita. Archa, he will worship the deities of the Lord. He will worship with faith also, but that faith is not so strong. And natat bhakteshu cha anyeshu, he will not worship the devotees of the Lord. Saraswati Thakur would tell, that there was a person in his time, he had a Shaligram Shila, and he would worship that, and all the people would come and give donations, and when people would go, he would use the same Shaligram to break the Badam. And he would call, that Shila was called as Badam Bhangi Shaligram. So that's how these people, they have very less faith on actual understanding of who is Lord, and what to speak of devotees. So a devotee at least should come to the Madhyam level, where the faith is very strong and it cannot be disturbed, it cannot be shaken. He may not be convinced, he may not be able to convince others, but he is himself convinced. And he will go to a person and find the answer, and then he will, give proper reply. So then after this, he says, so the view of the devotees is correct. So the non-devotees, they have no, faith in Krishna's supremacy. They are bewildered by illusory energy. But the devotees, they are never wrong. They understand the glories of the Lord. And that is described in the next verse. Pradarshaya tapta tapasam avitripta drisham ninam adayantara dhadyastu swabimbam lokalochanam.
Lord Shri Krishna, who manifested his eternal form before the vision of all on the earth, performed his disappearance by removing his form from the sight of those who were unable to see him as he is, due to not executing required penance.
So Lord, he manifested his eternal form. Yaha swabimbam pradarshaya. He manifested his eternal form. Swabimbam means his own form. So Lord manifested his own eternal form, and that form is lokalochanam. That form is a center of attraction for all the eyes. And therefore, he took that form, Lord appeared, he showed this form to everyone, and then he antaradha, and then he disappeared. He came and then he disappeared. And therefore, those people who had not performed sufficient austerities, atapta tapasam, those who had not performed sufficient austerities, they could not hold that form. So they started craving, they were hankering, avitripta drisham, they were not satisfied. So that's how Lord appears in this world, performs his pastimes, and then he goes back. And those who are not yet completely perfected in their devotional understanding, they cannot see this form. That's what Krishna Lord told to Narada boy. Two reasons, first he appeared in the heart and then he disappeared, and then Lord appeared as a sound, and he said, you will not be able to see me in this life for two reasons. What were the two reasons?
He wanted to increase his hankering to attend.
Yes, to increase the hankering. And second,
Not completely purified.
you are not completely purified yet. So therefore, those who are not completely purified yet, they cannot see the Lord always in their hearts. So Uddhava, he is telling to Vidur that we may be lamenting in separation of the Lord, but Lord is there. But just that we cannot see him. He has disappeared from the vision of people. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives two meanings for this. First meaning is, he says, Swabimbam, the Lord showing his form to men, he made them taste his sweetness, and then ignoring the fact that still their eyes are dissatisfied. He disappeared. Avitripta drisham, they are not still satisfied looking at the beautiful form of the Lord, but still he suddenly disappeared. And second meaning he says is, the Lord manifested his eternal form and removed it from the sight of those who have not executed required penance. So two meanings. First is, Lord disappeared. He appeared, performed his pastimes, and then unmanifested his form. And devotees were still hankering, because devotees are always hankering for the form of the Lord. Nothing can satisfy the devotees except Krishna, and devotees are never satisfied with Krishna. Krishna Katha, Krishna's name, form, pastimes. So, second meaning is, and they are not satisfied in their attempts to satisfy their senses by seeing him even many times, but attained the Lord's mercy and developed a craving to see his form. So these devotees who are not yet complete, they developed a craving. That's what Krishna told to Narad Muni, that you are not satisfied. I want to increase your hankering. You are not completely purified yet. I want to increase your hankering. So the Lord wants to increase the eagerness of devotees. That's how Lord works in this world. Whatever he does, Lord has one purpose. How to increase the eagerness of this devotee so that he will come close to me. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. And Lord wants to increase that eagerness. So that is how it is. And then Chakravarti Thakur continues. Lord thought that those who were greedy for him, even without his disappearance, would taste his sweetness more profoundly by separation. So separation is more powerful, object to remember a person than union. So therefore, the Lord, he disappeared from the sight of his devotees. But this will make the Lord someone who takes back what he has given. This is answered in the last line. The eyes of all people are situated in him. He gave his form to men so that he could attract all their eyes, not to give them a spiritual benediction and then take it away like a thief. This verse is Vyajastuti. So basically what he's saying is, the Lord, he may be called as thief. He gave something and then he took away that thing. Still, people were hankering to see his beautiful form and he took away everything. So when Krishna appeared on earth, actually he blinded everyone by attracting everyone's attention to him only. Devotees could not see anything else apart from Krishna. They could not hear anything else apart from Krishna. Krishna's flute. That's how Krishna, he acts. Prabhupada writes, Avitripta drisham. The conditioned souls, they are trying to satisfy their senses, but they have failed to do so. And then Prabhupada gives the example of fish. If you take a fish out of the water, whatever things you give, fish will never be happy. Similarly, the spirit souls can be happy only in association of devotees and the Supreme Lord. So in this purport, Prabhupada mentions 3 points. First is only few pious can see the Lord. Not everyone can see the Lord. And Prabhupada paraphrases a verse. Only those who have completely surpassed the way of sinful reaction can engage in devotional service. Which verse in Bhagavad Gita? Only those who have completely surpassed the sinful reactions. Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karma. Then Prabhupada writes that the Lord always exists in his eternal form. And third, Lord left with his own body, he did not leave his body. That's what Prabhupada writes in the last few lines. When the Lord passed beyond the vision of all, he did so in his original eternal form. The Lord left in his own body, he did not leave his body, as is misunderstood by conditioned souls. So that's how this statement defeats the propaganda of false, faithless devotees, non-devotees. That the Lord passed away like ordinary soul. Then he continues. Another beautiful verse. So Uddhava says, when he made his form disappear, did he go to Vaikuntha? How could he take that form suitable for human pastimes to Vaikuntha? So Vidurji may ask this. So this means that even now he is residing in Dwarka. So one should not think that the Lord has some fault because he has human pastimes. Lord's pastimes are not human. He has disappeared from the vision of the world, but still he is there in unmanifested form. And Lord's form is the ornament of all the ornaments. Yanmartya lilo paikam swayoga maya balam darshayatam grihitam vismapanam swasya cha saubagardhe param padam bhushana bhushanangam.
The Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency, Yogamaya. He came in his eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus, his Sri Krishna's transcendental body is ornament of all ornaments.
So yan Martya Leela. Martya Leela means the pastimes which he performs in this world. Swa Yoga, Lord appears manifests those pastimes by his internal potency. Maya Balam Darshayatam. And he manifests pastimes which are suitable for human beings to understand. Because that is the form in which we can relate to. We cannot relate with pastimes Lord has performed as a boar or a tortoise, nursing Dev. So that is unimaginable. We cannot develop a relationship with that form. But Lord, when he appears as Krishna, as a human body, it is very easy to develop relation with him, suitable for human pastimes. And those pastimes, Vismapanam, these pastimes astonish, Swasyacha, they astonish even Vishnu. Which pastime? Anybody can remember which pastime? Even Vishnu was attracted to Krishna. It comes in the 10th canto.
When Krishna and Arjuna.
Yes, when Krishna and Arjuna, the Brahmana's son was getting, he was dying. They were dying all one by one. So ultimately Krishna and Arjuna, they went to Vishnu and Mahavishnu said, actually, I want to have your darshan. So that is what he is mentioning here. Visma panam swasyacha. Even Lord Vishnu gets attracted to those pastimes. And even for those who are proud of their opulence, they are attracted by the pastimes of Krishna. So therefore, Bhushana Bhushanangam, his form is the ornament of all ornaments. Just like it is described that when somebody displays wonderful qualities, the person becomes attractive. But when Lord Ram manifests those qualities, the qualities get glorified. Oh, Lord Ram is manifesting this quality. That quality is glorified. That's how when somebody puts some ornaments, that person becomes beautiful. But when Lord puts ornaments, the ornaments become beautiful. Bhushana Bhushanangam. So in purport, Prabhupada writes how he glorifies the form of Krishna. No one can excel Krishna in his beauty, is in all these six opulences: wealth, strength, fame. When Krishna enters Mathura, all the Mathura Vasis and the ladies of Mathura, they are seeing first time Krishna. And they are astonished. And they are thinking, what fortune these gopis had, what tapasya they must have done. Gopya tapah kimacharam yadamushya rupam lavanya sarama samordham ananya siddham digbi pripanti anusavabhinavam durapam ekanta dhama yashasa shriya aishwarasya. Gopya tapah kimacharam, what tapasya these gopis must have done? Because they were drinking the beauty, Drigbhi Pibanti, they were drinking the beauty of Krishna every day. That form of Krishna is Asama Urdhva. Nothing is equal to Krishna or greater than Krishna. Asama Urdhva. Lavanya Saram, it is the essence of loveliness. Ananya Siddham, there is nothing greater than this form. Ekant Dham, Krishna's body is the only abode of Shriya, Yasha, Aishwaryasya. It is the abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. So that's how there is nobody can surpass him or equal to him. So he did not appear in human society in his Vaikuntha feature with 4 hands because that would not have been suitable for his pastimes. He appeared as a 2-handed human being. And then Prabhupada writes how Krishna appears and performs pastimes for some time, and then he disappears. When Lord appears and visible, he is called as, his Leela is called as Prakata Leela. And when he's not visible, Aprakat. So of all the wonderful avatars of the Lord, the avatar of the Lord as a small boy, Krishna, is most attractive. Athanyad api Krishnasya toka charitam adbhutam manusham rupamasadya tatajati anurundhatah. Toka charita means the child pastimes. Childhood pastimes, they are not there even in Goloka. These pastimes are there only in this world, in Bhuloka. So that's how the Vrajavasis, when they come on this planet, they can experience this beautiful form of Krishna as a small boy also. And then Prabhupada writes how Krishna's form is transcendental par excellence. And he says 4 things. First, even Vishnu adores this form. Second, Krishna is more merciful. Third, only Krishna has 4 opulences which Vishnu doesn't have. Which are the 4 opulences?
Leela Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, Prem Madhuri.
Prem Madhuri. Leela, Premna, Priyadikyam, Madhurya, Venu Rupayoho, Iti Asadharanam Proktam Govindakhyam Chajushtayam. These are the 4 things which only Krishna has. And then he says that the Rasa Leela and the household pastimes of Krishna, as when Krishna was there in Dwarka with 16,000 wives. There is a whole chapter in the 10th canto. Narad Muni is going to all the houses, all the palaces of Krishna. And in one palace, Krishna is getting up. In other palace, Krishna is taking care of the children. Other palace, he is, enjoying with wives. Actually, Chakravarti Thakur says, as he is traveling from one palace to another, he sees different time zones. In one palace, it is afternoon. In one palace, it is evening. In one palace, it is morning. So there, Prabhupada writes, this shows that how Krishna is beyond time. So all these pastimes are wonderful. His pastimes are wonderful even for other incarnations. His opulence was so super excellent that his pastimes were adored even by the Lord of Vaikuntha. So his beauty is described, his opulence are described. Kaviraj Goswami speaks a beautiful verse describing the beauty of the Lord. Muktahara Bakapati Indradhanu Pinchatati Pitambar Bijuri Sanchar Krishna Nava Jaladhara Jagata Shashyavu Par Varishaya Lila Mritadhar. So Muktahar, Krishna is wearing a pearl necklace that looks like a row of ducks around the neck. Muktahara Bakapati Indradhanu Pinchatati, and the peacock feather looks like a rainbow in the sky. And Pitambar is like the lightning in the sky. And in midst of all this, Krishna Nava Jaladhara Jagata Shashya Upar, Krishna is like the cloud. And what he is doing? Varishaya Lilamrit Dhar, he is showering his beautiful pastimes on the conditioned souls of this world. So then after speaking this, Uddhavji, he reminds Vidura, actually you have directly witnessed the great auspiciousness of Krishna in Rajasuya Yagya, where Yudhishthir Maharaj performed this Yagya only for one purpose, to glorify Krishna as the Agra Purusha. And he speaks beautiful verse. Yad dharma suno bataraja suye Niriksha driksvastyayanam tilokaha Katsnena chadye hagatam vidhatur Arva kritau kaushalamithyamanyata.
Taking words from the upper, lower, and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of the Rashtriya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Krishna, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate, the express creation of Brahma and the creator of human beings.
All of them are thinking, क्या बनाया है ब्रह्मा जी ने? Yad dharma suno rajasuye, at this rajasuya sacrifice of Yudhishthir Maharaj, so all the people of the universe had assembled. You know, who is who of the universe had come. All the great Rajarishis, Devarishi, all the great Devatas, everybody had come. Shiva, Brahma, sab log hai udhar. Triloka yad niriksha, you know. So all these three loka, all the people from three planets, they were there and they were seeing. And when they saw this beauty of Krishna, which was most auspicious, Drik Swastyayanam. Swastyayanam means the most auspicious beauty, most pleasing beauty of the Lord. So when they saw this beautiful form of the Lord, which is creating auspiciousness in all the directions, that is the only thing which creates auspiciousness. Rupa Goswami writes 6 characteristics of devotional service in Nectar of Devotion, first chapter. One of them is auspiciousness. Anyone remembers the Sanskrit word for that? Bhakti is all auspicious. Shubhada. Yes. Jiva Goswami writes, Shubhada has 4 qualities. Anyone knows that? He says, first is Prinanam. Second, Sarva Jagatam Anuraktata. Third, Sadgunadi Pradattvam. Fourth, Sukha Pradattvam. Prinanam means it is beneficial for everyone. Prinanam. Second, Sarva Jagatam Anuraktata. It attracts all the living entities. And Prabhupada gives the example of Lord Chaitanya going through Vidharikhanda forest. Even animals were attracted. And Sadgunadi Pradattvam, Prabhupada tells, we went to America and we started preaching, and all the hippies, they gave up their bad qualities and they became wonderful devotees. Sadgunadi Pradattvam, which verse says that when one starts practicing bhakti, all the qualities of devatas manifest in that person. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate sura. And fourth is Sukha Pradattvam. Bhakti gives the highest type of bliss, and that is called as the 6th quality, 4th quality of bhakti and devotional service. Kleshagni, Shubhada, Sandrananda Visheshatma, third quality. और बाकी तीन क्या है?
मोक्ष लघुता
मोक्ष लघुता कृत, last is Sri Krishna Krishni and Sudurlava. Yes. So bhakti is all auspicious. The Lord's form created all auspiciousness in all directions. Kartsnena chadeha. Kartsnena, when they saw this beauty of Krishna, they saw it is a sum total of beauty, which was created by Brahma ji. Vidhata ne sabse sundar srishti yahi ki hai. That's what they were thinking. Arvak shritau kaushalamithyamanyata. And after this, there is nothing which is more, which is better than this creation. That's what everybody was thinking. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, all people within the three worlds, including Brahma and Indra, considered that today in this universe, the skill of the creator had all been nullified by seeing the beauty of Krishna's limbs. The सबसे सुंदर सृष्टि यही किया है इन्होंने. And actually, when people, they compare the beauty of this nature and they say, wow, nature is so beautiful. If the nature is so beautiful, the person who has made the nature, how beautiful he must be, So that's how all the beauty of this world should make us aware and should make us remind the beauty of Krishna. That is the whole understanding of the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, opulence of the absolute. Anything attractive, opulent, powerful you see in this world, the last verse of that chapter is all opulent, wonderful, and attractive things, they are coming from the spark of my splendor. So that's how all the things which are there in this world, they should remind us of the beauty, power, wealth, opulence, and fame of Krishna. So that's how Lord has appeared. That's why he has appeared and manifested this beautiful form. So Prabhupada writes, there was nothing comparable to the bodily features of Krishna when he was present in the world. Prabhupada writes, most beautiful object in the world may be compared to blue flower or full moon. But even lotus flower and moon are defeated by the bodily beauty of the bodily features of Krishna. All the Bollywood songs glorifying the beauty is made on this, the Chand is a Roshan. So people glorify and compare beauty of this world with moon and lotus. But moon and lotus, their beauty is also defeated. So that is how Prabhupada writes, the demigods thought that Krishna, like themselves, was also created by Brahma. But in fact, Brahma was created by Krishna. It was not within the power of Brahma to create the transcendental beauty of Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabho. So whatever Krishna does, it is attractive. Krishna, when he appeared as Rishabhadev, and when he left his family, kingdom, and he was moving around like Avadhuta, and he was following Ajgar Vritti. He was sitting at one place, passing stool and urine at the same place, he was rolling in that. But Bhagavatam says that stool of Rishabhadev was fragrant, 80 miles. So who can do that? Only Krishna can do that. So then after this, Uddhavji continues. He says, but the attraction of gopis for Krishna was much greater than all the others in the universe. In Rajasuya Yagya, everybody was attracted to Krishna. Even Brahma, even Indra. But nobody can compare with the attraction gopis had for Krishna. And because Krishna did not respect these devatas as much as he respected the gopis. And then Krishna, Uddhava, he remembers his own experience when he was sent by Krishna to Vrindavan. And now in the 14th verse, he is remembering the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan with the gopis. Yasyanuraga plutaha sarasa
यस्यानुराग प्लुप्तः सरासा
लीलावलोका प्रतिलब्धमानाः
अवलोका प्रतिलब्धमानः
व्रजस्त्रियो दृग्भिरनु प्रवृत्ता
रजस्त्रियो
धियो
अनुप्रवृत्त
धियो वतस्थो किल कृत्य शेषाः
तस्तु किल कृत्यशेषा.
The damsels of Raja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties.
So, yasya anuraga plutahasa rasa, the pastimes of laughter, humor, Leela avaloka, the exchange of glances, pratilabdhamana, they were anguished when Krishna left them in Rasa Leela. Brajastriyo, the damsels of Braja, what they would do? Drigbhi anupravritta, they used to follow him with their eyes. And what they would do? Dhiyo avatastuhu, they would sit down with stunned intelligence. Kilakritya shesha, they could not finish their household duties. When Krishna plays flute, none of the gopis could do anything. They would just leave everything and run. In the morning, in the temple, all the brahmacharis, उनका हमारा attendance होता है. अभी तो इतना strict नहीं होता है, but पहले बहुत strict होता था. सुबह 4:57 अगर नहीं लगाया प्रेजेंट तो उधर ही बैठ के 108 बार लिखना पड़ता है. तो सब लोग चैंटिंग कर रहे हैं और ये बेचारे लिख रहे हैं हरे कृष्ण मंत्र. So it was a scene earlier, in the morning, devotees running to mark P. Present. So one devotee was saying, gopis, they were running when Krishna would play flute. And we are also going for P, go P. So that is a perverted reflection of how, कैसे भी तिलक लगाओ, कैसे भी उल्टा सीधा कुछ तो कुर्ता पहनो और भागो, नहीं तो लिखना पड़ेगा 108 बार. Now it is not so strict because the devotees, they have spent many years. So now they come on their own. So now gentle reminder is given if somebody is not coming. Otherwise, most of the devotees, they come. But, gopis, they would really give up everything. ऊपर का कपड़ा नीचे, नीचे का ऊपर, और एक हाथ में काजल है, दूसरे में नहीं है, and whatever they have, चलो भागो. That's how they were remembering Krishna. They were stunned in their intelligence. Yadohane vahanane mathanopalepa prengkheng khanar bharuditopshanamarjanado gayanti chayanam anurakta dhiyo ashrukanthyo dhanya brajastriya vrukkramachittayana. So gopis were remembering Krishna, whatever they were doing. Dohane, milking cows, avahanane, threshing grains, mathane, churning butter, upalepa, smearing cow dung on the wall, playing khana, swinging in the swing, and making their children swing, praying arbharuditokshana, taking care of the crying children, whatever they were doing, gayanti chayanamanurakt, always attached to thinking about Krishna. That's how gopis were. So therefore, he is remembering how gopis were stunned in their intelligence. When Krishna plays flute, nobody can do anything in Vrindavan. So the calves, as they are drinking the milk, they become stunned. Their mouths are full of milk. The birds, they sit with their ears. They don't have external ears, but they have their ears. And they are just sitting quietly, listening the beautiful flute of the Lord. The deers, they hear the Yamuna stops flowing. Nija samasakha sange gogana charana range vrindavane swachanda vihar. Yar venu dhvani suni sthavar jangama prani pulaka kampa ashru vahedhar. When Krishna is in Vrindavan playing flute, what happens? Pulaka, hair stand on end, Kampa trembling, Ashru Bahedhar, oh, everybody is crying, seeing, hearing the sound, flute of Krishna. Chakravarti Thakur writes, they stopped all the activities such as cleaning, smearing cow dung, churning yogurt, serving food. Even in the midst of doing activities, if they happened to see him suddenly, they remained motionless, not completing their chores. So that's how they were epitome of attraction towards Krishna. And that's why even Krishna admitted, Prabhupada writes, Krishna finally admitted his defeat. He says, I have given a declaration, ye tha mam prapadyante, ye case mein nahi ho paya. You be satisfied with your devotional service. Na paraye hum. Only reward of your service is you be satisfied with doing that service. मेरे पास कुछ नहीं है देने के लिए. So that's how Gopi's love is described. It is said that we all must have heard when Uddhava was sent to Krishna to Dwara Braj, and he was thinking, I'll give this Aishwarya Gyan. And when he saw the epitome of Gopi's love, it is said that Uddhava went with the hat of Aishwarya Gyan. And when he saw the height of the love of the Gopis, he kept looking up, and his hat fell down. So that's how, and he saw one Gopi in meditation. So he thought, अच्छा है, पहले से ही meditation कर रहे हैं. मैं तो वही बोलने के लिए आया था. So he asked, what are you meditating on? She says, I am meditating to take Krishna out of my mind. I cannot do anything. I can just remember, I am remembering Krishna all day. कुछ नहीं हो रहा है मेरे से. Everybody is giving me gali. कुछ तो करो. So that's how it is. So the knowledge is like the sun which dispels the ignorance. But you can't see pole star in the sun. So it is said that Gopi's love is like pole star. If you have the sun of Aishwarya Gyan, you cannot see pole star. Our true north is not visible. So Prabhupada writes, no one could excel him even in the dealing of love, exchange between boys and girls. It is said in the revealed scriptures that Krishna personally never goes beyond the boundary of Vrindavan. Anyone knows the verse? Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam na gacchati. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. When Akrura took Krishna to Mathura, it was the Vasudev Krishna who went to Mathura. Vrindavan Krishna stayed there. He remains there eternally. Thus, even though he is not visible, he is not away from Vrindavan for a moment. So then hearing this, Vidurji may say that, but from your mouth we hear that Vaikuntha Narayan came and appeared in Vasudev's house. From Vaikuntha Narayan came and he appeared in Vasudev's house. And that the ancient Lord took the black and white hair. There is some controversy. Krishna and Balram, they have appeared from the black hair and the white hair of Shirodakshay Vishnu. He expands from Narayan. And we also hear that Krishna with human pastimes is situated in Dwarka. What is the real truth? So Vidurji is asking, what is the real truth? We have heard all these things. So he explains in the next verse. Swashanta rupesh vitarai swarupaish abhyardhyamanesh
अभ्यर्धमानेष्वनुकम्पितात्मा
avaresho mahadamshayukto
हरेशो महदंशयुक्तो
yajo pijato bhagavan yathagnihi.
त्यजोऽपि जातो भगवान् यथाग्रही.
The personality of Godhead, the compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creation, is unborn. But when there is a friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the
material modes of nature. He takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the Mahattattva.
So now he's telling what is the purpose of Lord's descent, why Lord appears in this world. Anukampit Atma, because he is compassionate in mind. So Swashanta Rupeshu, when his devotees, they are afflicted by demons. Abhyardhyamaneshu. Abhyardhyamana means being harassed by. When his devotees are harassed by the demons, that same Bhagavan, that same Supreme Lord, although Ajopi, although he is unborn, but still he appears along with his Vishnu expansions, Mahad Amsha Yuktaha. Because he is the Lord of all gods and devatas, Para Avara Isha. So the Lord, same Lord Krishna appears in this world with all the incarnations to protect his devotees. So Para means Narayan forms. They are beyond Prakriti, beyond the nature. And Avara means the Lord's form in the form of Devatas. Brahmaji and all the other Devatas. Lord Krishna is the Para Avara Isha. He is the Lord of the eternal expansions, Vishnu forms also, and he is the Lord of Devatas also. Mahadamshayuktaha. Amshayukta means he is the source of all the incarnations. So why Lord appears in the world? He is all compassionate. That's what Gajendra is praying to the Lord. Oh my Lord, please help me. Madrik prapanna pashupash vimokshanaya muktaya bhuri karunaya namo alayaya. Oh my Lord, you are free. Please liberate me. Why should I liberate you? You are bhuri karunaya. You are always merciful. Aaj mood nahi hai. No, you are always alert in protecting your devotees. Alayaya. So therefore, Lord never ever delays in protecting his devotees. So Prabhupada writes, somebody can read this purport.
The devotees of the Lord are by nature peaceful because they have no material anchoring. A liberated soul has no hankering and therefore he has no lamentation. One who wants to possess all so laments when he loses his possession. Devotees have no hankerings for material possessions and no hankerings for spiritual salvation. They are situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord as a matter of duty, and they do not mind where they are or how they have to act.
Okay. So devotees, they do not hanker for material possessions and they do not hanker for spiritual salvation also. That is very important thing to understand. Because many times we hanker for spiritual salvation. Mukti chahiye, Bhagavad Dham वापस जाना है, I'm hankering for it. But that is not an ideal, right understanding of a devotee. Devotee is only interested in serving Krishna. If we are too much conscious of going back to the spiritual world, we are not conscious of serving Krishna now. You know, when we speak this karmanya adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, that is not just for karmis. That is there for bhaktas also. We should be focused on the process. And of course, the goal is always there, but we are not so much obsessed with the goal. भगवत धाम ही जाना है, उसके बिना कैसे होगा, तो वही सोच रहे हैं. We are not focusing on the process of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, devotee has no hankering for material possessions and no hankering for spiritual salvation. मारो भी राखो भी जो इच्छा तुहार. So of course, we cannot artificially, practice this. Wherever we are, we should practice at that level. If somebody has material desires, should he ask the Lord कि भाई मुझे भौतिक इच्छाएं हैं, पूरी करो? A devotee should ask the Lord for material desires. If I have some material desires, I have to maintain my family and I want some good business my business to flourish. So should we ask the Lord? मांगना चाहिए कि नहीं मांगना चाहिए?
We can ask whatever is good for me. This is
भगवान बोलेंगे कि आपके लिए तो शुद्ध भक्ति ही सबसे अच्छा है.
this is my desire, but please do what is good for me. That's what we
Please do whatever you want.
What is good for me?
एकदम clear. We should be very clear about our prayers. मांगना है कि नहीं मांगना है.
This is what we should have. मांगना ही है, then we should ask Krishna, not the demigods. That's what I think.
नहीं, पहले मांगना है कि नहीं. That is first thing. वो देवताओं के पास नहीं जाना है, वो तो है ही. लेकिन should we ask material desires?
If it is there, we should ask, because otherwise they'll keep hankering in our hearts. The purification process simultaneously happens.
मांग लो, whatever desire we have, we should ask the Lord, and we should increase our practice of devotional service. So one day what will happen? We will say, "अरे क्या जरूरत है सब मांगने का?" It is all waste. That's what happened to Dhruv Maharaj. So at whatever stage we are, if we think नहीं मेरे को भगवत धाम जाना है, कोई बात नहीं, have that desire, no problem. But when we really get purified, then a pure devotee, for him it doesn't matter. Ihayasya haredasya karmana manasa gira nikhilashvapi avasthasu jivan mukta. He is staying in this world, he is liberated. So wherever we are, we should ask for that. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavata mat katha shravanadau va shraddha yavanna jayate. Krishna tells to Uddhav in the 11th canto. Wherever you are, work at that level. Till the time you have unflinching faith, do not jump up. Otherwise, it will be artificial. It will not be sustainable. I cannot imitate some pure advanced devotees artificially. I will not be able to sustain it. Because those who are personal servants of all the sannyasis and all the acharya gurus, उनको पूछो. It is like staying with fire. हमको लगता है महाराज आके मुझे बोलेंगे कितना अच्छा लगेगा. And all these devotees were serving them directly. They know it is not so easy to be with a pure devotee. It is like staying with a fire. So we have to have that capacity to handle that association. Otherwise हम लोग जल जाएंगे. So therefore we should not work beyond our level of realization. We will get burnt. Artificially we cannot become pure devotees. It will be unsustainable. So therefore wherever we are, we should pray at that level. I want to go to spiritual world. Okay, have that desire, no problem. But the more we get purified, then mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhakti rahetu ki toi. It will come automatically one day. Artificially मांगने की जरूरत नहीं है. And then Prabhupada writes, all the karmis, jnanis and yogis, they are always disturbed. Which verse says this? Karmis, jnanis, yogis, they are always disturbed, and devotees are always peaceful. क्या पहला लाइन क्या है? भक्ति मुक्ति सिद्धि कामी सकली अशांत कृष्ण भक्त निष्काम अतएव शांत. So devotee is not hankering for peace. A person goes to God and says, "Oh God, I want peace." So God says, remove the first two words. Then you will automatically get peace. I want. Till the time you have hankering, then peace will not come. So devotees, they are always peaceful. Prabhupada quotes this story of Durvasa Muni and Ambrish Maharaj. Ambrish Maharaj is always peaceful. Then Prahlad's story. When such friction takes place, the Lord, out of his compassion, appears in person, accompanied by his portions. The Lord is everywhere, and he appears for the sake of devotees when there is friction between devotee and non-devotee. And then Prabhupada gives an analogy of electricity is generated by friction of matter anywhere and everywhere. So Lord is all pervading. Whenever there is friction between devotee and non-devotee, Lord appears. So that is understanding. Okay. And then, after telling all that, Uddhavji says, I am really disturbed thinking about so many incidents We'll recite this. Mam khedayatte tadajasya janma vidambanam yad vasudeva gehe
विडम्बनं यद् वसुदेव गेहे
vaso aribhayadivasvayam
व्रजे च वासो
पुराद्
वरिभयादिवस्वम्
व्यवस्थित यदनन्त वीर्यः
पुराद्व्यवस्थात् अनन्तवीर्यः.
Lord Krishna, how he was born in prison house of Vasudeva, although he was unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Brother and lived there incognito out of fear of enemy, and how although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Mathura in fear all these living in distress.
So he's saying, actually, I have revealed the truth to you that he is Supreme Lord as I have understood it now. But earlier I was in complete distress. How can Lord, appear in the prison house? How can he run away and go to, Vrindavan out of fear of Kamsa? And why he had to flee away from Mathura out of fear of Jarasandh? Earlier, all these things, they would trouble me. Although I asked many people, I was full of grief. So that's what he is explaining in this verse. So he says, actually, all this gives me pain. So actually, the present tense is used there. So because these things have happened just, some time back. So that's how Chakravarti Thakur writes, because his birth pastimes, even in degraded circumstance, should create the greatest joy in mother, father, friend. Why did he not do anything about this? Why he had to leave them? Although he was born in prison house, why he left his mother, father? And he is naturally full of bliss. Why he was staying in Braja out of fear of Kamsa? So all these things, they create bewilderment in me. In the 4th chapter again, Uddhava tells a beautiful verse. The Lord's contradictory behavior. The Lord has nothing to do in this world, still is working hard. Karmani anihasya bhavo abhavasyate, he is unborn, still he takes birth. Durga Shrayothari Bhayat Palayana, fear personified, fears Krishna. Kapil Dev tells his mother, because of my fear, sun is rising. Because of my fear, wind is blowing. My fear, death is coming. And that Lord is running away out of fear of Jarasandh. Durga Shrayo and taking shelter of a fort in the middle of the ocean. What is this? And he is self-satisfied. He married 16,000 queens. Kala Atmanoyat Pramadayat Ashrama Swatman Rate Khidyati Dhir Vidami. All these things bewilder even sober people. Kunti Maharani also speaks a verse. Anyone remembers? 1st canto, 8th chapter. वो भी एक श्लोक बोलती है. This is all bewildering. नहीं वो नहीं, वो भी है उसमें, लेकिन एक में और clearly she says it's all bewildering. I saw with my own eyes. गोप्या ददे त्वयि गसिदामतावत् याते दशाश्रुकलिलाञ्जन सम्भ्रमाक्षम् वक्त्रं निनीय भयभावनयास्तस्य सा माम विमोहयति भैरपीयति. ये क्या चल रहा है? भैरपीयत बिभेति, and he is running out of fear of a small stick, out of fear from a small simple lady of Braja. So that's how Dhavi also saying that this is all bewildering. Bhishma told, nobody can understand how this person is acting. Don't think he is your cousin. Yanmanyase matuleyam, you are thinking he is your cousin, he is your protector. Suret priyattamam akarot sachivam dutam. He is not any of that. Who is he? Eshavai Bhagavan. He is that same Bhagavan, and nobody understands how he acts. Yudhishthir Maharaj says, सामने खड़े हैं, पूछ लो ना, बता देंगे. Why is acting in this way? So Chakravarti Thakur says, even if he tells, you will not understand. And first of all, he will not tell. तो बताएंगे तो भी नहीं समझेगा. That's how Lord is. So therefore, he says, earlier I was so disturbed. So Prabhupada writes, The Lord is original person. Nothing is equal or greater to him. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. But when Lord acts in certain ways, even pure devotees are bewildered temporarily. Uddhava knew perfectly well that Krishna is eternal, yet he lamented for Krishna. That is how devotees are. All these events are perfect arrangements to give perfection to his supreme glories. It is for enjoyment's sake. When a father plays with his little son, father lies down on the floor as if defeated by the son. It is just to give little son pleasure and nothing more. So the Lord acts in so many contradictory ways just to give pleasure to devotees. A pure devotee knows very well how is it possible for the Lord to adjust opposite things. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in Jaiva Dharma, the Lord has a particular potency that is called as Virodh Bhanjika Shakti. He can reconcile all the contrary things. Ishopanishad, there is a verse, Lord is near and far, inside, outside. Anyone remembers that? Oh, no? That's how the Lord is showing all the tadejati, tannejati, tadadure, tadavantike, tadantarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasyasya bahyataha. So the Lord, devotee knows all that. How Lord can adjust opposite things, but non-devotee, they get confused. So then, after this, he continues. Dunoti cheta smarato mamaita yadaha padavabhivandya pitro
यदाह पादावविन्दपित्रो
tatamba kamsa durushankitana
ताताम्बकं सादुर्शङ्कितानां
prasidatam no kritanishkritana.
प्रसीदतां नो कृतनिष्कृतीनाम्.
Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for their Krishna's and Balrama's inability to serve their feet due to being away from the home because of great fear of Kamsa. He said, "O mother, O father, please excuse us for this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain at heart."
So he's continuing. What all things he saw which bewildered him, gave pain to him. Dunoti chetaha. It gives me pain in my heart. Smarataha. When I think of, he gives four things. In Krishna, he went to his father and mother and asked forgiveness. Pada abhivandya pitro. And total, he is giving four things in this. First, he said in the 16th verse how he appeared in a prison house and why he ran away from Jarasandha in fear, and he is asking for forgiveness from his father and mother. Tatam Kamsad Urushankitana. He's saying, I went away. I was fearful. Oh father, please excuse me. Oh mother, please excuse me. So it gives pain to the heart. So all these pastimes are really bewildering. One time gopis, they wanted to cross Yamuna. And because they wanted to go and meet Durvasa Muni, they had prepared huge feast for Durvasa Muni. So you know how to cross Yamuna. So they go to Krishna and say, Krishna, please do something. So Krishna says, you go and tell Yamuna, if Krishna is brahmachari, please give way. So they started laughing, like, kya joke mar rahe hain? Like, just go and ask, tell, see what will happen. So the gopis go and they say, if Krishna is brahmachari, give way, and now Yamuna gives way. They were astonished, kya chal raha hai? Yamuna is also on the side of Krishna only. Anyways, they go and they give wonderful prasad, and Durvasa eats nicely, and then he gives blessings, and then they say, now Durvasa Muni, we have to go back. What to do? So Durvasa Muni says, okay, you go and tell Yamuna, if Durvasa has not eaten anything, please give way. They could not laugh also. Because they know, यहाँ पे हंसेंगे तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. So anyways, they kept faith and they went and asked. They told that if Durvasa has not eaten anything, please, Yamuna gives way. They are all the more astonished. Kya chal raha hai? They came and asked Krishna, Krishna, what is happening? Just tell us. So Krishna says, look, first of all, I am not interested in any of you. Because you want to show love to me, that's why I am reciprocating. I am not hankering. Yethamam prapadante. Mera principle is this. So therefore, I am self-satisfied. And as far as Durvasa is concerned, he has not eaten anything because he lives on Durva grass. You know, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, wheat grass juice. So actually, he is not in need of anything because you gave him. That's why he ate. So that's why, in one sense, he has not eaten because he didn't want it. So that's how Krishna's pastimes are really bewildering. So Prabhupada writes, it appears that Krishna and Baladev were both greatly afraid of Kamsa and they had to hide themselves. But Krishna and Baladev are Supreme Lord. How is it possible that they are afraid? Is there any contradiction? And Vasudev, due to great appreciation for Krishna, wanted to give him protection. So basically, Lord just wants to give devotees a chance to serve them. That's why he performs some pastimes. Prabhupada writes, out of his great love for Krishna, Vasudev broke his promise. He has given promise to Kamsa that I'll bring all my sons to you. But when Krishna appeared, he didn't follow that promise. He did not want to disturb the intense affection of Vasudev. And thus he agreed to be carried by his father to the house of Nanda and Yashoda. And just to test the intense love of Vasudev, Lord Krishna fell in the waters of Yamuna. We know that story. So Krishna is a supreme Lord. He is never afraid, but just to please his father, he agreed to be so. So that's how Lord works. And then he says, those who are not the Lord can also act like this. Vidur may say, well, Lord is, showing all these pastimes. He is fearful and he is running away. Those who are not Lord, they can also do, and they can also say, ye bhi hamari leela hai. It is your faith only that he is the Lord. Vidur may say that. It is your faith. You are saying Krishna is Lord, but others, they may also say that, oh, this person is also running away out of fear. That is his pastime. Just like one person came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, I am God. And then after some time, he said, Swamiji, where is washroom here? Prabhupada said, first you say you are not God. Swamiji, I am God. But tell me where is washroom? So you have to accept it. Okay, I accept. Then he says, okay, there is washroom. And then he says and goes and comes back and says, that was my pastime. So somebody may say that, ये भी बोल सकते हैं कि ये मेरी लीला है. So he answers that doubt in the next 3 verses. Ko va mushyanghri sarojarenum
Ko vamusham
Vismartumishit
grisarojarenum
puma ishit puman vijigran
Sheta puman vijigran
Yogisfurat bhru vitapena bhume
Yo vispuradbru vitapena
Aram
bhume
kritantena tiraschakara.
Dharam kritantena tirashakara. Hare Krishna. Who after smelling the dust of his lotus feet, even once could ever forget it, simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who were burdening the earth. Hare Krishna.
So now Uddhava is telling that why I am saying he is Supreme Lord. First he says, Kova Amushya Angri Sarojarenum, who after smelling even once the dust of his feet can forget it. Vismartum Ishit Puman Vijigran, after smelling, nobody can forget that Lord. That Lord, what he did? Simply by expanding his eyebrows, Visfurat Bhru Vitapena, he has destroyed all the demoniac people on this earth just by movement of his eyebrows. That's how Lord has planned entire Kurukshetra war. He did not take up a single weapon. He destroyed all the demons. So he says moving an eyebrow is such an insignificant activity. Nothing happens. Only thing which happens is somebody will say, "Kya dikha raha hai?" You know. So, but when Lord moves his eyebrows, even great warriors, all the demons, they get destroyed. And he gives another example. What happened? So first, he gave the example of Lord's power. The Lord's power is unparalleled. Just a movement of his eyebrows, he can destroy. And in 19th verse, he gives the example of Lord's mercy. Who is that personality who can give liberation to even a person who is most envious of him? So, first he says Lord's power, then Lord's mercy. दृष्ट्वा भवद्भिर्ननुराजसूये चैत्यस्य कृष्णं दिशतोऽपि सिद्धिः
चैद्यस्य कृष्णं दुषतोऽपि सिद्धिः
संप्रहयन्ति सम्यक्
मां योगिनः संस्पृह्यन्ति
योगेन
सम्यक्
कस्तद्विरहं सहेत
योगेन कस्तद्विरहं सहेत.
You have personally seen how the king of Chedi Shishupal achieved success in yoga practice. Although he hated Lord Krishna, even the actual yogis aspire after such success with great interest by performance of the various practices. Who can tolerate separation from him?
So he's saying you have personally seen what happened in Rajasuya Yagya. Drishtva bhavadbhir. Bhavadbhir matlab you have seen personally. Rajasuya, in Rajasuya sacrifice, what happened? Chaidyasya, the son of Chedi, king of Chedi, Shishupal, Chaidya, he was envious of Krishna. Shishupal would keep a count 99 ginke. That is interesting. गिन के गाली दे रहे हैं, 97, 98, 99 अभी रुक जाते हैं, But in that Rajasuya again he lost count. He became so absorbed because earlier he was very envious, but उसका envy थोड़ा देर के लिए कम हो गया था because he was about to get married to Rukmini. And when Krishna took away Rukmini, it was like unbearable, and it was on top of his elements in Rajasuya. When Yudhishthir Maharaj did this Rajasuya only to prove that Krishna is supreme, so he could not maintain his count and forgot his count. So that's what he's remembering, that but the Chaidyasya Krishnam Dishatopi Siddhi. So when actually somebody is absorbed, he loses his count. भूल जाते हैं. We are not so absorbed in chanting, that's why we remember कितना माला कर लिया हमने. We keep a count पक्का, इससे ज्यादा, मतलब मेरे बारे में बोल रहा हूँ. So that's how he says, अरे he got liberation. He became success. Yogino samprahayanti samyak. He attained perfection. Anything, any relation, any emotion you have for Krishna, if you're really absorbed in it, you'll get perfection. Gopya kama bhayat kamso dveshya shaidyadayon ripa sambandhat vrishnaya sneha yuyam bhaktya vayam. 7th canto, Narad Muni is telling Yudhishthir Maharaj. Various people have attained perfection. Gopis out of lust. Of course, that was not material lust. Bhayat Kamsa was fearful. Dveshya Chaidyadayo. Shishupal out of envy. Sambandhat Vrishnaya. Vrishnis, because of their relationship, they were absorbed in Krishna. And Snehad Yuyam, oh Pandavas, you had love for Krishna, affection. And we, some simple devotees, in Narad Muni is saying, we have also achieved Krishna by our practice of sadhana bhakti. So anything you do with Krishna, any emotion. So he's remembering Krishna was so merciful even to his enemy. And then another very wonderful verse comes. How Lord showed mercy even to the warriors on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. तथैव चान्ये नरलोकवीरा यदा
नरलोकवीरा
हवे कृष्णमुखारविन्दम्
यदा हवे कृष्णमुखारविन्दम्
नेत्रे पिबन्त्यो नयनाभिरामम्
नेत्रे पिबन्तो नयनाभिरामम्
पार्थास्त्रपूता पदमापुरस्य
पार्थास्त्रपूता पद्मापुरस्य
Certainly, others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows. And while seeing the lotus face of Krishna, so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord.
Tathaiva, certainly there were others who were Naraloka Veera, who were warriors on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. What they were doing as they were shooting arrows on Arjuna, अभी सामने कौन है सामने कृष्ण है. So how can you avoid Krishna? He is the most beautiful personality. Yada ahave Krishna mukharavind, they could not resist seeing Krishna. And what they were doing, netre pibanto, they were drinking the beauty of Krishna with their eyes, nayana bhiramam, the most beautiful form. And Arjuna, you would take advantage of this. And he would shoot arrows, and they would, very nicely says, they become purified by the arrows of Partha. Parthastraputa. They were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows. Padamapurasya, and they got highest abode. One person came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, I am very disturbed. What happened? Somebody told me that last life I was fighting on the side of Kauravas. One astrologer told me this. Prabhupada said, not possible. तथैव चान्य नरलोक, जो भी मरे वो सब चले गए भगवत धाम. आप आए वापस, मतलब you are not fighting on the side of Kauravas. Padamapurasya. So that is the beauty of the Lord. He purifies even the enemies by his beauty. Shriyo nivaso yasyoru panapatram mukham trisham bahavo lokapalanam saranganam padambujam. Shriyo nivasa, the Lord's face is the drinking vessel for those who want to see something beautiful. So that's how the Lord is. Prabhupada writes, Supreme Lord appears in this world for two purposes: to deliver the faithful and annihilate the miscreants. His annihilation of a person like Shishupal is as auspicious as his action for the protection of faithful. So whatever Lord does, it is all beneficial. Nothing is inauspicious when it comes in relationship with the Lord. So Prabhupada writes in detail about this. And then in the next paragraph, Prabhupada elaborates on this Partha Astraputa. Arjuna personally declined to fight, and the whole instruction of Bhagavad Gita was given to Arjuna to engage him in fight. As a pure devotee, Arjuna agreed to fight in preference to his own decision. All the activities of pure devotee. So whatever Lord does is beneficial, whatever devotee does is also beneficial. Even if he's killing, it is for the benefit of people in general. Although Arjuna got benefit, although both Shishupal and the soldiers on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they both attained spiritual sky, but still there was a difference. What was the difference? All these people they are killed, they also went to Sayujya only.
They were not favorable, their intentions were not favorable.
Okay, so they both attain spiritual perfection, and they, it is said devotees also attain spiritual perfection, and these enemies of the Krishna, they also attain spiritual perfection. It is all, it is example is given. One person may be staying in Dharavi, other person may be staying in Malabar Hill. और वो दोनों बोलते हैं हम मुंबई में रहते हैं, you know. और दोनों मुंबई में है, but एक आदमी धारावी में है. One person is staying in Malabar Hill. So although someone may get entrance and go to Brahman, and some devotee they go to spiritual world, Vaikuntha or Goloka. So there is a huge difference. So whenever it is said that these demons, they also go to the spiritual world, and devotees also go to the spiritual world, there is a difference. They go to personal planet of the Lord. Of course, Shishupal after 3 lifetimes too. Actually, this was the last. Pehle Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, then Ravana, Kumbhakara, and then Shishupal, and then Tvakra. And they went to the spiritual world. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, in mentioning that they drank with their eyes, Uddhava laments his own position. They were fortunate, I am unfortunate. Because by drinking the form of the Lord with their eyes, they attained the Lord. That's how devotee feels always. You know, Gaur Govind Maharaj says, our mission always remains incomplete, unaccomplished. No devotee says, Abhi main pure devotee ban gaya. So that's how our mission is, mission unaccomplished. None of the devotees say, हम लोग अभी शुद्ध हो गए हैं, अभी हमको इतना आनंद आ रहा है. They are happy, but they'll never say, I have become, pure devotee. So they always think that this person is better than me. Narad Muni is also saying the same thing. Shishupal was more Krishna conscious than me. Narad Muni does that. So that is humility. So Prabhupada writes about Parthastra. Last few lines Prabhupada writes. Shishupal died without appreciating the Lord, while others died with appreciation of the Lord. Both were transferred to the spiritual sky, but those who awakened to the love of God, were transferred to the planets of transcendental sky. Uddhava seemingly lamented that his own position was less than that of the warriors of battlefield. So that's how it is. Narada's humility, and that's how Kaviraj Goswami, what he says about his condition. And one famous statement, Kaviraj Goswami, क्या बोलते हैं वो? I am more fallen than worm in the stool. जगाए मधाय होइते मुझसे पापिष्ट पुरीशेर कीट होइते मुझसे लगिष्ट. I am more fallen than Jagai Madhai. I am more lowly than worm in the stool. So when these pure devotees, they say that, they are, not in inferiority complex when they say this. So, but when outside people, when they think that I am insignificant, that inferiority complex gives them depression. But when the devotees say I am so fallen, they become more happy. Why? What is the difference between humility and inferiority complex? मैं भी बोल सकता हूँ
Humility is to accept the reality what I am.
वो लोग भी रियलिटी यही बोलते हैं कि मैं इतना लोली हूँ, everybody is greater than me.
They don't want to do anything. Out of the
They feel envious about others being superior, but whereas devotees, they feel happy that people are serving the Lord better.
Okay. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Ami to kamera das mama nivedana shuno gopinath vishay durjana. So when pure devotees, they say this, and the ordinary person is telling his condition of, insignificance, what's the difference?
One is low self-esteem.
Oh, so what's the basis of that? Low self-esteem and humility. Our devotees having low self-esteem, मैं तो इतना नालायक हूँ, इतना पतित हूँ, इतने सालों से I am chanting, still I am fallen.
Krishna, the devotees feel Krishna's mercy is bigger than my low qualification. Low esteem people, they don't want to.
So devotees, they know that Krishna is so great. He will deliver me. They have faith in Krishna's transcendental position, powerful position. And because these karmis, they depend on their own strength, they feel depressed. अभी क्या होगा मेरा, कुछ नहीं हो सकता मेरा. So that's how when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Narad Muni and Uddhav ji, they are saying, I am so fallen. ये सब लोग मेरे से बड़े. They are actually glorifying the power and the mercy of the Lord. Rupa Sanatana Goswami also they say the same thing. मलिच्छ जाति मलिच्छ सेवी करी मलिच्छ कर्म गो ब्राह्मण द्रोही संगे हमारा संगम. We are more fallen than जगाय मधाय होइते कोटि कोटि गुण अधम पतित पापी आमी दुईजन. They are saying जगाय मधाय had so many wonderful qualities. We are so fallen. क्या good quality है? ब्राह्मण जाति तार नवदीपे घर, नीच सेवा नहीं करे नहीं नीचेरा कुरपर. They were born in Brahmana family. They had house in Navadip. They never served Malechas. Batao. And just see us. Malecha Jati, Malecha Sevi, Kari Malecha Karma. So that is their humility, Okay, so now first he told how Lord delivered anybody who. The Lord is so powerful, just by movement of his eyebrows, he can destroy all the demons. Then he said in 19th verse and 20th verse, the mercy of the Lord. And in 21st verse, he is telling how he is uncomparable. Swayam asamyatishayastriyadhishah Swarajya samastakamaha Balim haradveschiralokapalai
Kiritapoteditapadapitha.
Lord Shri Krishna is the Lord of all kinds of trees and is independently supreme by achievement of all kinds of virtue. He is worshipped by the eternal maintainers of the creation, who offer him the paraphernalia of worship by touching the billions of elements at his feet.
So Swayam, he himself. So now he is saying that so Chakravarti Thakur says in 2 verses, Uddhava laments now. How could he forget the sweetness of the Lord? His willingness to come under the control of his devotees. Though he is a master of Brahma, Devtas and Vishnu, he becomes servant of Ugrasena. So now he's saying that Supreme Lord, who is the master of all the threes. Three means 3 principal potencies, 3 pairs of opulences, 3 Purushavatars, 3 Gunavatars, 3 modes, and 3 worlds. Lord of the 3. Tryadhishaha. Prabhupada also writes that. He is Supreme Lord of the 3s. 3 qualities of nature, 3 Purushas, and Chakravarti Thakur writes few more. And Prabhupada also writes 3 principal potencies, Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, Tatastha Shakti. 3 principal potencies, 3 pairs of opulences, Aishwarya, Shri, all that. So, Asamya, Atishaya, there is nobody equal to him and nobody greater than him. Swarajya Lakshmi, he is supremely independent. Apta Kama, all his desires are automatically fulfilled. He doesn't have to wait. He doesn't have to tell कि मुझे ये चाहिए. All his potencies are active, waiting to have Krishna some desire. As soon as Krishna desires, they are all put into action. He doesn't have to tell them also. Balim Haradbhi Chiralok Palai, he is worshipped by eternal maintainers of the creation. And Kirit Koti Edit Pad Pitha, his feet is honored by millions of helmets that touch them. It is mentioned that in the 3rd canto it will come. In Vaikuntha, you will always hear the sound of crowns hitting the ground. All the devatas, they keep coming and offering obeisances. So that's how Kirita Kotyed Pada Pitaha. So Uddhava is remembering all that. And he says, although the Lord is so powerful, you know what he would do? He would still submit to Ugrasena. It is so very wonderful. Tattasya Kaikarya Malambhritano Viglapayatyang Yadugrasenam
Viglapayatangayatu grasenam.
Tishtan Nishannam Parameshchidhishnye
Tishtannishannam parameshtadhirne
Nyabodhayaddeva Nidharayeti.
nabodhayatev nidharayeti. Hare Krishna.
Therefore, O Vidura, does it not pain us, his servitors, when we remember that he, Lord Krishna, used to stand before King Ugrasena, who was sitting on the royal throne, and used to submit explanations before him, saying, "Oh my Lord, please let it be known to you."
So again he is saying it is very painful. He is so powerful, and Ugrasena is a person who is known for having no sufficient strength. But still Krishna would submit to him. That is his unparalleled humility. One time one devotee, he came from West and he had just become devotee, and he came to Mayapur. And there he met with Jananivas Prabhu. And Jananivas Prabhu, he became good friend with him. He didn't know who is Jananivas Prabhu. So he thought, okay, koi to pujari hai. So he was, behaving with him in a friendly way, putting hand on the shoulder, and he was moving around. So then one time, Jananivas Prabhu came to Kartik Yatra. Radhanath Maharaj went and took all the devotees for Yatra to Mayapur. So one day, Jananivas Prabhu was called. So as soon as Jananivas Prabhu entered the pandal, all devotees got up and offered their full dandvat. So he was shocked. Kaun hai? Kisko dandvat kar rahe hai? Then he realized, who is the Jananivas Prabhu? So that's how, some Krishna, a devotee out of his humility may behave in a very simple, humble way. That's how devotees are. So Lord also does that. He behaves in a humble way with Ugrasena. So that's how it is. He is remembering how Lord is doing all that. So same thing happens in this Devahuti and Kapila Samvad. After Kapila Dev tells all the instructions to Devahuti in the 31st chapter, 3rd canto, she says that it is not astonishing that you have given me such wonderful instruction. You are the Supreme Lord. And this is not such wonderful for you because you know everything. But you know what is astonishing? You appeared from my womb. That is astonishing. I am an insignificant lady. How can you appear from my womb? I am an ordinary lady. So that's how, she is remembering, she tells. So then he speaks after this. 23rd is a most famous verse which shows the extraordinary mercy of the Lord. Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam
Bhakiyam
jigham
stanakalakutam
sayapa yadapya sadhavi
jigham sayapaya
lebhe gatim
sadhavi
dhatri uchitam tatonyam
lebhe gatim dhatruchitam tatonyam
dayalum sharanam rajema.
Kamba dayalum sharanam brajema. Hare Krishna.
Last, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than who granted the position of the mother to a she-demon Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast.
So this was one of the verse which transformed Shukdev Goswami. Another verse was Barahapidam. One was glorifying Krishna's beauty, other was glorifying Krishna's mercy. So Aho Bakiyam, that Putana, Baki, the sister of Bakasur, she came with Stanakalakutam, poisonous breast. Jighamsaya pyar. Intention was to kill Krishna. Sadhvi, but she came in the dress of a devotee. So, just she came in the dress of a devotee, and what you gave? Lebhe gatim dhatri. You gave him position. That Krishna gave him position of a nurse in the spiritual world. Kamavadayalum sanno sharanam. What to speak of others? Who will not surrender to that Supreme Lord who is so very merciful? Putana, Lokabalagni, Rakshashi, Rudhirasana, Jigham Sayapi, Haraye, Stanam Datvapa Sadgatim. Shukdev Goswami says, Kim Puna Shraddhaya Bhaktaya Krishnaya Paramatmane Yachan Priyatamam Kimnu Raktastan Mataro Yatha. What will be the destination of the mothers of Krishna who gave milk with love and devotion? That is what Brahmaji also praised in the 10th canto, in the 14th chapter. He says, you gave position of mother to Putana. कुछ बचा क्या आपके पास बाकियों को देने के लिए, What will you give to all these mothers who are serving you so nicely? So that's how. And great devotees, they are hankering to have darshan of your feet. And Krishna was just holding on to the body of Putana, and he was kicking Putana's body, and she was getting all the dust. Padbhyam bhaktaridistabhyam vandabhyam lok vanditai angam yasya samakramya bhagwan api tatsanam. तो जिनकी पूजा करते हैं सब वो they are hankering, and Krishna is giving freely. No, all. So how is this possible? So that is the wonderful nature of Krishna's mercy. And when Putana entered Krishna's room, Krishna closed his eyes, and Acharyas give 21 reasons why Krishna closed his eyes. We will not discuss all that. So one of the reasons Krishna closed his, he's thinking, इसने कुछ किया है क्या पिछले जन्म में अच्छा? He's thinking. आंख बंद करके सोचते हैं ना. Krishna is also thinking. And one other reason is पहली राक्षस पहला I have to kill first demon. She is a lady. क्या करें? And then another wonderful reason, बच्चे को कड़वी दवाई पिलाते तो आंख बंद कर लेते हैं. तो कृष्ण अरे भी कड़वा विष पीना पड़ेगा इसलिए आंख बंद कर लेते हैं. Okay, so that's how he's thinking. So then after this continues. And then again he says the demons, they are more than the devotees. Again he says in the 24th verse, I consider the demons to be more than the devotees because while fighting the Lord, they are absorbed in thoughts of enmity. Because the negative thoughts are more powerful than the positive thoughts. So he is thinking these are so absorbed in Krishna. Manye Suran Bhagavatam Stradhishe
Manye Suran Bhagavatam
Marga Bhinevishta Chittan Kesam Yuge Kshatatarsha Putram Amshe Sunabha Yudham Apatantam.
Amse Sunabha Yudham Apatantam.
I consider the demons who are inimical toward the Lord to be more than the devotees because while fighting the Lord, absorbed in thoughts of enmity, they are able to see the Lord carried on the shoulder of Garuda, the son of Kashyapa, and carrying the weary weapon in his hand.
So, in this Putana pastime, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says two qualities are needed to attain him. Shraddhavan Anusuyascha Shunaya Yeme Matamidam Nityam Anutishtanti Manava Shraddhavanto Anasuyanto Muchyanteti Pi Karmivi. One should have Shraddha and one should have no envy. Putana had both of them. She had no faith and she was completely envious. Still, Krishna gave mercy. So that shows while giving instructions, Krishna doesn't compromise. But when he's dealing with people, he is very lenient. So that is how, when we give instructions, we should be very strong in giving instructions. But when it comes to dealing with devotees in practical, life, we should be little lenient, because Krishna is lenient when he is dealing with even with people like Putana. So then Krishna says, now Uddhava says, I consider demons manye asuran, those who are demons, bhagavatan. They are more than the devotees. Why? Samrambhe, while they were envious and inimical towards Krishna while fighting, abhivishta chetam, they were continuously absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. And they are able to see the Lord, ye samyuge achakshata. They were able to see the Lord who is being carried by Tarkshya Putra, son of Tarkshya. That is, Tarkshya is Kashyapa, and son of Tarkshya is Garuda. So carrying the weapon in his hand. So of course this should not be taken literally. ठीक है भाई उद्धव जी बोल रहे हैं तो मान लेते हैं demons are greater devotees. No, Uddhav is speaking out of intense love for Krishna. Because a mother, Prabhupada tells, a person who loves a child, somebody, he cannot or she cannot find any fault in that person. Mother will never find fault in her child. Even if the child is born blind, they will name him Kamal Lochan, or lotus-eyed one. That's how parents are. When Hiranyaksha died, Diti was lamenting, "Arey, bichara itna acha tha." He was killed by Vishnu. So that's how it is, out of intense love. It comes in the 4th canto. When Dhruva, he gets darshan of the Lord and then he comes back, he is really lamenting. Because Lord told that your stepbrother will be killed by yakshas and your stepmother will die in forest fire. So he's thinking, because of me, my brother will die, my stepmother will die. And then he says, these devatas bewildered my mind. That's why I asked all these things. So Chakravarti Thakur says that, we should not take it literally. When a person is really despondent, he tells, it is just like, you are walking with your friend and something wrong happens and you do something, by mistake you do something wrong. So you will you will become angry on your friend. That tumko batana chahiye tha na, I should have done this rightly. Ye bola kyun nahi maine, So that's how Dhruva, in desperation, he is saying, ye devata ne mera mati bhram kar diya. Mati bhrama, that word he's using there. So that's how here Uddhava is saying that the devotees, demons are more wonderful. And then, after telling all that, although there is no difference between the appearance and disappearance pastimes of the Lord, but devotees, they generally do not discuss about the disappearance pastimes. Because Vidurji, he asked about Krishna and his dynasty and how is he doing. So, sabse pehla cheez kya bolna chahiye? Krishna has left. And he should have described the disappearance. But Uddhava starts with the birth of Krishna. That is the rest of the chapter. The pastimes of Krishna in Braja, then pastimes of Krishna in Mathura, and then the next chapter, pastimes of Krishna in Dwarka. So that is how he continues. So we'll keep on reading the translation. We will not discuss much. 25th verse, translation.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, being prayed to by Brahma to bring welfare to the earth, was begotten by Vasudeva, in the womb of his wife Devaki, in the presence of the king of Bhoja.
Next.
Thereafter, his father, being afraid of Kamsa, brought him into the cow pastures of Maharaj Mila And there he lived for 11 years, like a covered flame, with his elder brother Baldev.
In childhood, the Almighty Lord was surrounded by cowherd boys and calves, and thus he traveled on the shore of the Yamuna river, though through gardens densely covered with trees and filled with vibrations of floating birds.
So there, Shukdev Goswami says that one should not think that these cowherd boys, they are ordinary people playing with Krishna. They have acquired this position after millions of lifetimes of Sukriti. Of course, that is not ordinary Sukriti, that is Bhakti Sukriti. Itham satam brahma sukhanubhutya mayashtanam naradarkena dasyam gatanam paradevatena shakam vijaru krita punya punja. Lots of greats they have performed, they have done. Okay, next verse.
When the Lord displayed his faculties just suitable for childhood, he was visible only to the residents of Vrindavana. Sometimes he would cry and sometimes laugh, just like a child, and while so doing, he would appear like a lion cloud.
Uddhav Bhakti Mata, you can read.
Yes, while herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who has the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute, and thus he enlivened his faithful followers, the cowherd boys. Hare Krishna.
Krishna would sometimes cry, sometimes he would laugh, just like a child. And the gopis, they would say, Krishna, if you dance, I'll give you sweet. And Krishna would dance. Krishna, if you dance, if you sing, I'll give you butter. Krishna would dance. Krishna would sing. Gopi bhi stobito nrityat bhagavan balavat kvachit udgayati kvachin mugdhas tadvasho daru yantra daru. He became a wooden doll. One time in Vrindavan, Krishna, he was playing a mischief. He was tying the shikha of a gopa with the tail of a calf. And Yashoda, she sees this. वो क्या है उसमें वो श्लोक है ना वो गोविंद दामोदर में ना क्या हो अच्छा है वो बहुत अच्छा सा श्लोक है बहुत अच्छा सा लाइन है आबालकम नहीं उसमें क्या है आबालकम बालकम जुहावा गोविंद दामोदर Chibukam Grihitva, she catches hold of the chin of Krishna. Like, what is he? What are you doing? So, okay, that's how Krishna attracts the mind of all the Brajvasis.
Want to know that?
गोवत्सबालय एक ही लाइन में पहला गोवत्सबालय शिशुकाकपक्षं बध्नन्तमम्भोजदलायताक्षम् उवाच माता चिबुकं गृहीत्वा गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति. So beautiful. उसमें सब कुछ बहुत अच्छा है. The sweet pastimes है. Bill Mangal Thakur is seeing all those pastimes. Okay. Yes, next.
The great wizards who were able to assume any form were engaged by the king of Bhoja, Kansa, to kill Krishna, but in the course of his pastimes, the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks dolls.
Mama was sending toys and Bhanja was breaking every toy. Okay, next.
The inhabitants of Vrindavana were perplexed by great difficulties because a certain portion of Yamuna was poisoned by the chief of the reptiles, Kaliya. The Lord chastised the snake king within the waters and drove him away. And after coming out of the river, he caused the cows to drink the water and proved that water was again in its natural state.
Next.
The Supreme Lord Krishna desired to utilize the opulent financial strength of Maharaja Nanda for worship of the cows. And also he wanted to give a lesson to Indra, the king of heaven. Thus he advised his father to perform worship of goat or the pasturing land and the cows with the help of learned brahmanas.
So Krishna performed this Govardhan Leela for two reasons. To destroy the pride of Indra and to establish the principle that devotee should never worship Devatas. So he was thinking, why you all are Brajvasis worshipping Indra? And to establish this, he is ready to speak atheistic philosophy also. भगवान ये बोल रहे हैं नास्तिकवाद कर्म मीमांसा. Okay, next verse.
Therefore, Vidura, King Indra in his honor, having been insulted, poured water incessantly on Vrindavana. And thus the inhabitants of Vraja, the land of cows, were greatly distressed. But the compassionate Lord Krishna saved them from danger with his pastime umbrella, the Govardhana hill.
Next.
Hare Krishna. In the third season of the year, the Lord enjoyed as the central beauty of the assembly of women by attracting them with his pleasing songs in an autumn night brightened by moonshine. Hare
Prina
Krishna.
Mandala Mandana Raslila. So that is the end of the second chapter, and then third chapter is entirely about the pastimes of the Lord out of Vrindavan, the Mathura pastimes and the Dwarka pastimes. So we'll keep on reading. We'll not go into the detail. Translation.
Sri Uddhava said, thereafter Lord Krishna went to Mathura city with Sri Baladeva, and to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength.
So Krishna, he punished Kamsa and dragged him. Why he dragged Kamsa all over?
So
क्या जरूरत था?
people of Mathura sure that Kamsa is no more.
To give them faith कि वे सच में मर गए. So that's how he punished him. He was not dragging to boast that just see I have killed this Kamsa. He dragged him to convince everyone that don't fear now, because he was a very, very powerful king. Kamsa. Okay, next verse.
The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher, Sandatri Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka.
So actually, Shukdev Goswami, he tells in the this 11th canto, he tells Parikshit Maharaj that, how can somebody say that Krishna is an ordinary person? He did something which is impossible for anybody in this world to do. And he gives 4 reasons, why one should not think that Krishna is an ordinary person. So I'm just trying to find out that verse. He says that Krishna, he's protected you when you were in the womb of your mother. You were actually dead. He brought you back. He brought the son of his father of his guru from Yamaloka. Yamaloka Nitam. एक वो उस वैसे शुरू होता है. So, and third reason he says is Yamalokanitam, ऐसा करके, there is a verse. Yes. मर्त्येन यो गुरुसुतं यमलोकनीतं त्वां चानय शरणद परमास्त्रदग्धं जिज्ञेन्तकान्तकम् अपि शमसावनीशं किं स्वावने स्वरनयन् मृगयुं सदेहम्. He says, Martyena, although in his same body, he went to Yamalok and he brought the son of his guru. Tvam chanayan, aapko baja ke laye. Sharanada, paramastra dagdam, you are already dead. And that Supreme Lord, he defeated Shiva. Jigge antaka antakam. Lord Shiva is the destroyer of the death also. He can do that. But Krishna defeated Lord Shiva. And Kim Swavane Swaranayan Mrigayum Sadeham. And this Jara, who apparently said to kill Krishna, he killed Krishna. Are Krishna sent him to Vaikuntha in the self same body. So how can Krishna be killed? So that's how, Krishna is not an ordinary person, he's Supreme Lord.
Who is this person, Jara? Sorry, the hunter's name is Jara, but who is he actually?
Bhrigu. He was Bhrigu Muni in the last, because he, tested Brahma Vishnu, so he hit Krishna, Lord Vishnu. As a result of that, he was, given curse by Lakshmi to be born as Shudra. But Krishna, he sent him to spiritual world. Okay, next verse.
Attracted by the beauty and the fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna stepped over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar.
So Prabhupada tells a whole story of Rukmini Haran. Garuda carried away nectar. We know this story, right? No? The fight between Garuda and this Kalia and all that. So in this whole thing, there's a very sweet thing which happens when Krishna puts Rukmini on his chariot, and they are going away. All the armies are attacking. So seeing this, Rukmini becomes fearful. Now what will happen? So Krishna, he speaks one beautiful verse. He says, Prahasya bhagavanaha masmai bhairvamalochane vinamshatyadhune vaitat tavakai shatravam balam. He says, O Rukmini, O lotus-eyed one, please do not fear. This army will be very soon vanquished by your army. Now he is still not married, Rukmini. And he has already given charge, aapki sena hai, So that's how, as soon as one surrenders to Krishna, Krishna gives everything to that devotee. So that is a beautiful thing. Okay, next verse.
By subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagnaji in the open competition to select a bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed or wounded all of them, but he was not hurt himself.
So in that Rukmini pastime, Rukmini Haran, it is so very wonderful. Rukmini is a goddess of fortune, but still Krishna made her wait till last moment. Last moment, abhi jana hai aur shaadi hone wali hai. Still Krishna has not come. So if Krishna can test Rukmini to such extent, so nobody has excuse ki itna kyun pariksha le rahe hain, So we should be ready. Krishna will show mercy, but he will test till last moment. Itna bhi kar sakte kya? So that's how Lord is. And Rukmini also, she is writing that beautiful letter. Okay, uske baare mein discuss nahi karenge.
This depends upon the greatness of.
Of course, Krishna doesn't test a person beyond a limit, beyond what one can pass. But सबके लिए उतना टेस्ट वैसे ही लगता है कि अरे बाप रे अभी it is a question of life and death, अभी भी भगवान हेल्प नहीं कर रहे हैं. Everyone thinks I am most fallen in their own way, So Rukmini was such a great, तो उनको उतना बड़ा परीक्षा दी है. बट सबके लिए वैसे ही परीक्षा देंगे. सबको लगेगा अरे बाप रे अभी तो पानी इधर तक आ गया है, अभी तो कुछ तो करो. So then this fourth verse is describing how he conquered the 7 bulls.
Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back the Parijata tree from heaven, just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wife's henpecked as he was, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him.
So Narad Muni gave one Parijat to Satyabhama flower, and Satyabhama says, I want the whole tree. And Krishna, he went, and it seems that Indra को henpecked बोल रहे हैं, कृष्ण क्या कर रहे हैं? तो बोल सकते थे ना अभी एक flower से आप ही संतुष्ट हो जाओ. But when Krishna deals with his devotees in this way, he is not a henpecked husband. He is surrendered to the love of the devotees. And of course, Satyabhama had a nature. She is Vama, so she is not a Vama. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Vama is Rukmini. तो उसमें ये है ना, Mother Earth, she is telling, Kava sahet viraham purushottamasya prema valo kuruchira smitavalgu jalpai स्थैर्यं समानमहरन् मधुमानिनीनां रोमोत्सवं मम यदङ्घ्रिविटङ्किताय. There she is saying that I am remembering Krishna. He would walk on my surface, and how he would control even temperamental queens like Satyabhama. So Krishna is known for that. He could control Satyabhama also. Sometimes he would fulfill her desires. Sometimes, so many things he would do. So Prabhupada writes in this purport, there was no fault on the part of the Lord, even though he took away the tree from the heavenly kingdom. But because Indra was henpecked, he became a fool. Just as all persons who are dominated by the wives are generally foolish. Indra thought that Krishna was a henpecked husband who only by the will of his wife Satyabhama took away the property of heaven. He forgot that Lord is the proprietor of everything and cannot be henpecked. So it is very wonderful. From the timeline of heaven, this Govardhan Lila must have happened just a few days before. And he forgot all that and he is again fighting with Krishna. That is how the opulence can blind a person. That is called as madandha. One becomes blinded by illusion and dhanandha. Okay, next verse.
Narkasura, the son of Dharitri, the earth tried to grasp the whole sky, and for this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. This led to the return of the kingdom to the son of Narkasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon. Hare Krishna.
So this is the story of Krishna killing Narkasura, and he took Satyabhama with him. Why he had to take Satyabhama with him when he was going to kill Narkasura? Mother, she is Bhumi. She is Bhumi's avatar she is the expansion of Satyabhama only. So Krishna wanted to take her permission before killing her son. Okay. God writes, son of Dharitri and the Lord himself, but he became demon because of his bad association with the demon Banasur. Atheist is called a demon, and it is a fact that even a person born of good parents can turn into a demon by a bad association. Birth is not always the criteria for goodness. Okay, next verse.
There in the house of the demon, all the princes kidnapped by Narkasura at once become alert upon seeing the Lord, the friend of the distress. They looked upon him with eagerness, joy, shyness, and offered to be words.
So Prabhupada writes that how in the Vedic society, once the girl is touched by someone, cannot be married to anyone else. So Krishna, he bestowed mercy to all of them and married all of them. So that is what is described in 6th, 7th, and 8th verses. Prabhupada writes, according to Vedic society, girls are transferred from the custody of father to the custody of husband. Since these princesses had already been taken away from the custody of their fathers, it would have been difficult for them to have any husband other than the Lord. Next verse, translation.
All those princesses were lodged in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously resumed different body expansions, exactly matching each and every princess. He accepted their hand in perfect rituals by this purpose.
So he didn't give one room, chalo ek room sabko mil gaya, He made separate palaces for everyone. And while marrying also, 16,000 से कैसे एक करके शादी करेंगे तो 16,000 दिन में जो होगा. He expanded, and interestingly, Bhagavatam describes that all the relatives were also there in all marriages. So that means Nanda, Devaki, Vasudeva, everybody expanded into 16,000 and they all married simultaneously. That's all Lord can do. So this is Prakash expansion, Swayam Prakash. It is not that they are not the other Swayam Prakash, and there is another Swayam Rupa and Swayam Prakash. So Swayam Prakash means the Lord himself personally present in the same form. So the Lord was there in all the 16,000 marriages. So there are some yogis who had this siddhi of expanding into 9 forms maximum. Just like it is said that, Kardam Muni expanded into 9 forms and begot children in the womb of Devahuti. 9 or 8 something he said.
9.
9. Yeah. So 9. So that they are called as Kaya Vyuha expansions. So, but Lord is not like that. He can expand into unlimited forms. So Prabhupada writes about that. Swayam Prakasha. Okay, next verse. Translation.
Just to ex-
Hare Krishna.
Just to expand himself according to his transcendental features, the Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offsprings with exactly his own qualities.
So it is said that in Dwarka, Krishna's family was itself crores. Matlab 16,000 into 10, 11. 10 sons and 1 daughter, I think. Or 9 sons or 1 daughter, I don't know. So, and every son had a guru. So, one person asked Prabhupada, when I go and tell all the scientists about this, the question, itne chote se jagah mein itna sab log. Prabhupada said, of all the pastimes of Bhagavatam, you found only this one to tell to all the scientists. So, you could have told any of the other pastime. So, we should be careful what we are speaking when. Okay, so then he continues. Next question, next shloka. He is describing the killing of demons and the Kurukshetra war in 10 to 15 verses. Yeah.
Shalva, the king of Madura, and
Shalva.
the king of Madura. Mathura. That the city was in by their soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally. This do show the power of his own men.
This is interesting. Just to show the power of his own men. Who? Bhima and Arjuna. Because Jarasandha was killed by Bhima and Shalva was killed by Arjuna in the Kurukshetra. So that's how Lord wants to give credit to his devotees. Nimitta matram bhava sabya sachi. So in this world, nobody gives credit to the instrument. Doctors don't say, surgeon, मेरा scalpel ना, इसने इतना अच्छा surgery किया मालूम है. But Krishna is that person. He gives credit to the instrument also. Just become the instrument in my hand and you will get all the glory. Just gain the glory, O Krishna, O Arjuna. Prabhupada writes, actually the Lord descended at the request of Brahma in order to kill all the undesirables of the world. But to divide the share of his glory, he sometimes engaged his devotees to take the credit. Nimitta matram bhava sabyasachi. Next verse.
Hare Krishna. O kings like Shambhara, Dvividha, Bana, Mura, Balvala, and many other demons such as Dantavakra, some he killed himself and some he caused to be killed by others. Hare Krishna.
Next.
Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake, and they traversed the water.
So Lord caused all these warriors to be killed, but he gave credit to his devotees. Next is a very wonderful verse. Sakarna dosha shana saubalanam kumantra pakena hata shriyayusham
Kumantrapake nahata shriyayusham
Yodhanam sanucharam shayanam
Suyodhanam sanucharam shayanam
Bhaktorurvyam nanananda pashyan
Bhagnorumurvyam nanandan pashan.
Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna Dushashana, and Shaubala. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene.
Yes, very interesting. So Karna, Dushashana, and Saubala. Saubala is Shakuni. So when he saw, because of the ill advice of Karna, Dushashana, and Shakuni, Duryodhan, he lost his Shri and Ayush, his wealth and his duration of life. Whenever great personalities are offended, four things go down. Five things. Ayu, Shriyo, Yasho, Dharma, Lokanashisha Evacha, Hanti Shreyamsi Sarvani, Pumso Mahad Atikrama. Ayu goes down. Ayu, Shriya, wealth, Yash, fame, Dharma, religious principles, Lokan Ashish, auspiciousness. Hanti Shreyamsi, they all get destroyed. When? Pumso Mahadatikramaha, when great personalities are offended. This comes in the 10th canto, first chapter. So Duryodhan lost his fortune and duration of life because of the ill advice of Karna, Dushashan, and Shakuni. And very nicely, Maitreya is telling very wonderfully Suyodhan. He is giving all respect to Duryodhan. Actually, his name was Suyodhan, but because of his mischievous activities, he became Duryodhan. And Dusashan was Susashan, but because of his negative activities, he became Dushashan. But interestingly, as he is lying down with his followers, with his thigh broken, Krishna is not happy. Nananda Pashyan. He is not sadistic God, taking pleasure. So some people, there are two extremes. Taking pleasure in punishing someone or not punishing at all. So Krishna, he was not happy punishing. Hate the sin, not the sinner. So that's how Krishna is. Because everybody is the son of Krishna. Pitamasya Jagato. Even in the 7th canto, after killing Hiranyakashipu, Lord just uprooted the heart of Hiranyakashipu and he looked it for some time and threw it away. Why? He observed what he looked in that heart. Acharyas say, Lord was thinking, I was there sitting in this heart. But this personality, he became so envious of me, he did not allow me to stay here. How can he become so envious? So that's how he saw this heart. And then he threw that heart away. So that's how Krishna, he is the father of everyone. He wants that everybody should surrender and get benefited. So therefore, he is not happy. And that's how great devotees are not happy in punishing. Durga Devi is not happy punishing all the living entities with Adi Bhautik, Adi Atmik, Adi Daivika. Brahmaji, he speaks a verse in the 2nd canto, I think. Yeah, 3rd canto. Shutrit Dhatu Birima Murardhyamana Sheet Ushnavat Varsha Itaretaracha Kamagnina Achuturusha Sudurbarena Sampashyato Manaurukramasidate. He is saying what type of body I have created. These living entities are always disturbed. Inside, Shut, Trit, hunger, thirst, Tridhatu, Kaf, Vata, Pitta, always disturbed. Bahar se kya ho raha hai? Sheet, Ushna, Vata, Varsha, and then subtle, Kam, Agni, and insatiable anger. Sampashyato Manaurukramasidate me. I am just lamenting, seeing the condition of these living entities. So that's how the Lord is never happy punishing someone. He laments, just like a father. And parents, they are not happy punishing their children, but they have to do so to correct them. So Lord was not happy. Okay. Then translation. Somebody can read. 14th verse.
After the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Akshanis, has now been affected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty born of myself, which may be a more unbearable burden.
So Prabhupada writes a very elaborate purport to this. Why Krishna destroyed his own dynasty. So after destroying all the Kaurava warriors and the Pandava warriors, apart from the Pandavas, he is thinking there is still a great strength remaining. What is that? My own dynasty. So Prabhupada in the purport, and of course 11th canto describes in detail why Krishna destroyed his own dynasty. Will not go into the detail. Sunna hai to next time we'll discuss that. There are 11 reasons described in 11th canto. 11 or 13 reasons why Krishna destroyed his own dynasty and why Krishna left his body. So all that Chakravarti Thakur and Prabhupada writes in detail in that. So in this verse, Prabhupada writes, actually there is no problem of overpopulation. The problem is not overpopulation, but what the population is doing. That is the problem. So Prabhupada writes, it is wrong theory that world has become overburdened. Earth is never overburdened. Heaviest mountains and oceans are there, and they are holding more living entities than human beings. They are not overburdened. And Prabhupada says, if the census is taken, human beings are not even 5% of the total number of living beings. 5% bhi zyada ho gaya. All the living beings, the microorganisms, koi gin लीजिए, they are unlimited. So, and even if you take all the animals, and the Prabhupada says 5% bhi nahi hai. Prabhupada is maybe 84 lakh species mein only 4 lakh are humans. Kitna ho gaya? I think Prabhupada is calculating that. 4 lakh and 84 lakh. So Prabhupada says they are not even 5%. If the birth rate of the human beings is increasing, then birth rate of other living beings is also increasing. So, this is not right to say that Earth is overburdened. There is adequate arrangement of food for every living entity. Yes, कितना हो गया percent? नहीं 4 and 84 lakh.
4 by 4 lakh.
4 by 84. हाँ 4 by 84 कितना हुआ?
5%.
That's exactly 5%.
हाँ तो वही I think Prabhupada is right.
4.8%.
4.8, not even 5%. Prabhupada पक्का है वही calculation करके बोल रहे हैं. So Prabhupada is very accurate in many cases. Therefore, there is no question of an increase in population causing a burden. Earth is overburdened due to dharma glani. That's what Mother Earth tells to Prithu Maharaj in the 4th canto when she is holding all the grains. All the citizens, they go and complain, and Prithu Maharaj takes a sword and he is about to punish. So she says, wait a minute, why are you killing me? I am maintaining all these living entities. Prithu says, I will maintain, don't worry. I will kill you. Why you are not giving? I am a woman. So kya hua? If women does something wrong, she will be punished. ऐसा बहुत सारा reason बोलते हैं. And then she says, you know why I am not giving the grains? Because in the past, kings, they were not, following dharma. And I protected all these grain seeds so that in future kings like you, they will come and I'll give them. So there she tells this, that earth is not overburdened by population, but by dharma glani, sin. Material creation is meant for fulfilling the desire of the Lord. And his desire is that the conditioned souls who are unfit to enter into the kingdom of God have a chance to improve their conditions. And Lord has made all the arrangements. And then Prabhupada writes a very interesting line. He says, although there may be a great increase in population on the surface of the earth, if the people are exactly in line with God consciousness and are not miscreants, such a burden is a source of pleasure. And then he says there are 2 kinds of burdens, burden of love and burden of the beast. And Chakravarti Thakur gives an example. Wonderful example. Prabhupada is also quoting that. It is like a burden of a husband on young wife, burden of the child on the lap of the mother, burden of the wealth on businessman. The businessman, if he is given a burden, बैग फुल ऑफ गोल्ड कॉइन्स, बोले उठा के लेके जाना है, आपका हो जाएगा, उसको बर्डन लगेगा वो. No, he'll be happy doing it. So similarly, for mother, it is a burden of love, taking care of the child. It is not the burden of the beast. So therefore, Prabhupada says, when Krishna referred to the burden of Yadu dynasty, that is not the burden of beast, that is burden of love. So the word used is ayam kiyan bhuyoyam shapitoru bhara. It was not bhar of burden of beast, it was a burden of love. And what was the burden? He was thinking, if I'll go back, I'll not be with these people. I want to send them earlier so that I can be with them when I go back. I cannot bear separation from them. And then Prabhupada writes that even the earth could not tolerate the weight of a great devotee Dhruva. He pushed the earth by his toe. So then Uddhava says, but Yadus cannot be destroyed like others. It was the Lord who planned the destruction of Yadus. Mithoya daisham bhavita vivado madhu madhva madatmara vilochananam naisham vadhopaya iyan yatonyo mayudyate antardadate swayam sma.
When they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking madhu, then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place.
So on my disappearance, this incident will take place. So the Lord has planned and predicted the disappearance of Yadus. So Prabhupada writes that the Lord and his associates appear and disappear by the will of the Lord. Because nobody could kill the Yadus. They were so powerful. So one of the reasons, Lord was thinking, if I disappear before them, they'll be so mad. And if a mad person is very strong, it is very difficult to control him. If a mad person is lean and thin, usko ek jhapan mara wo shant ho jayega. But if he's very strong, it will require 10 people to hold him. So Krishna is thinking, these Yadus are so powerful. And if I disappear before them, they'll be mad in separation. They'll destroy the entire earth. So let them send first and then I'll go. So that was one of the reasons. Lord sent this Yadu dynasty. Evam sanchintya bhagavan स्वराज्ये स्थाप्य धर्मजं नन्दयामास सुहृदः
साधूनां वर्त्मदर्शयन्.
Lord Sri Krishna, thus thinking to himself, established Maharaj Yudhishthira in the position of the supreme control of the world in order to show the ideal of administration on the path of piety.
So now from 16 to 23rd verses, Uddhavji is describing how Krishna, as the king of Dwarka, he is enjoying his various pastimes with his energies. So he established Yudhishthira Maharaj as the king, and then what he did? Uttarayam dhrito puror
उत्तरायां धृतपूरो
सैवे द्रोण्यस्त संप्लुष्टः
संवेद्रोण्यसंपृष्टः पुनर्भगवतः.
The embryo of Puru's descendant, begotten by the great hero Abhimanyu in the womb of Uttara, his wife, was burnt by the weapon of the son of Drona, but later he was again protected by the Lord.
Actually, he was burnt. Prabhupada writes there. A second body was given by the Lord within the womb, and thus the descendant was saved. Okay, next verse, translation.
The Supreme Lord induced the son of Dharma to perform 3 horse sacrifices, and Maharaj Yudhishthira, constantly following Krishna, the personality of Godhead, protected and enjoyed the earth, assisted by his younger brothers.
So Krishna induced Maharaj Yudhishthira to perform 3 sacrifices, and Yudhishthira Maharaj ruled his kingdom by following the instructions of 2 people. Who? Bhishma and
Krishna.
So anybody remembers the word exact? Bhishmoktam
Achyutoktam.
Atha Achyutoktam. He followed the instructions of Bhishma and Achyuta. And that's how he ruled this entire world in such a way that even Devatas were envious. Everything was wonderful in the dynasty of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Cows were giving milk even without being milked. They would muddy the field with the milk dripping from their udders. And even Devatas were envying the prosperity. Kamam vavarsha parjanya sarva kama dughamahi shishichu sma vrajan gavo payasodhasvati muda. So that's how Yudhishthira was such a wonderful king. Along with the brothers and his wife, he was famous in all the 3 planetary systems. Bhagavan api Vishwatma
Bhagavanapi
Lokaveda
Vishwatma
Pathanugaha
Lokaveda Pathanugaha
Kamashishe Vedvarvatyam
Kamansi Vidvadratya
Sakta Sankhyamastitaha.
Asaktam Sankhyamastita. Hare Krishna. Simultaneously, the personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dwarka, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in the detachment and knowledge as enunciated by Sankhya system of philosophy.
So Bhagavan api Vishwatma, although he is a super soul of the universe, Lok Veda Pathanugaha, he followed the regulations given in the scriptures. He was strictly following the Vedic customs. There was no need for him. Which verse Bhagavad Gita Krishna says this? There is no need for me to follow. Still I am following. Name parthasti kartavyam drishu lokeshu kinchana nana vaptam vaptavyam varte eva cha karmani. Kyun? If I will not do, people will follow me, they will be all destroyed. Yadi hi aham na varteyam jatu karmanyatandritah mama vartamanu vartante manushya partha sarvasham. That's why he is practicing and following, establishing the principles. So, kaman shisheve dvarvatyam. And therefore, he enjoyed life in the city of Dwarka, asaktaha, in the mood of detachment. Sankhya sitaha, and in the knowledge. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, this verse describes the 5th and 6th qualities of Bhagavan, Gyan and Vairagya. Aishwarya, Virya, Yasha, Shri, Gyan and Vairagya. So Lord manifested his opulence of Jnana and Vairagya. So Prabhupada writes why he followed all the rules and regulations to set right standards. Without knowledge and detachment, so-called human society is no more than animal society. So therefore, Lord establishes these principles of detachment and knowledge. 20th is beautiful verse. Snigdha smitavalokena
Lokena
kalpaya
Vachapi Ushakalpaya
prenanavadyena
Charitrena Navaddena
Sriniketina chatmana.
Sriniketena Chatmana.
He was there in his transcendental body, the residence of the goddess of fortune, with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarian words, and his flawless character.
Snigdha smitavalokena. So now Lord as a residence of goddess of fortune, with his gentle smile and snigdha smita. Smita hasi means gentle smile. and sweet smiling face. Smita avalokena vacha piyush kalpaya, with his nectarian words. Charitrena anavadya, flawless character. Sriniketana, and he was the abode of goddess of fortune, although he was there in his transcendental body. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, this verse explains that though the Lord is not attracted by the actions of Maya Shakti, he is attached to the actions of Chit Shakti. Which verse in Chatushloki says this? The Chatushloki विलासिनी राधा जी माता जी बताएंगे, उन्होंने दिया है उस पे एग्जाम। थर्ड वाला है ना, क्या है? ऋते अर्थम न प्रतीते यद प्रतीयेत चात्मनि यद विद्या आत्मनो माया यथा भासो यथा तमः, उसमें प्रभुपाद राइट, उसमें इट इज डिस्क्राइब्ड हाउ he is not attached to the activities of the material world, but he is attached to the activities of the spiritual world. नहीं इसमें नहीं है, सॉरी नेक्स्ट वाला, क्या नेक्स्ट वाला वर्स क्या है? प्रत्यर्थम न प्रतीयते यत् प्रतीयते जात विद्या आत्मनो यथा महांति भूतानि भूतेषु चावचेष्वनु, इसमें बोलते हैं। So he is attached to the activities of the spiritual world. By this, हमारे लिए सब एक ही है, कोई we'll discuss one time more, you know, ये चतुश्लोकी. Fourth is, I think, very clear. उसमें Lord describes the glories of Bhakti. Yatsat sarvatra sarvada. Yes, I should. Anyways, by sweetness of the four elements, glances, words, actions, and the form of the Lord, he gave pleasure to the devotees on the earth and on Swarga. Imam lokam amum. That is the next verse. Imam lokam and amum. 21st verse starts with that. Imam lokam amum chaiva. So Lord displayed his wonderful beauty, his beautiful words, smiling face, flawless character, just for one purpose, to attract everyone. Seita madhurya sar anya siddhi nahi tar tiho madhuryadi guna khani आर सब प्रकाशे तार दत्त गुण भासे याते यत प्रकाश कार्य जानी. Kaviraj Goswami describes Krishna's beauty is the essence of loveliness. He's actually, it is a quintessence of all beauty. Madhurya sar, anya siddhi nahi tar. There is nothing greater than this beauty. Iho madhuryadi guna khani. He is the immutable mind of all the transcendental qualities. So that is how Krishna is. So Prabhupada in the purport, he describes about the various Shaktis of the Lord. Parashakti, and Prabhupada writes, he quotes this, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavshihi. Negation of the variegatedness of the inferior energy does not necessitate negation of the positive bliss. So Gyanis, they are so frustrated with the negativity of this world, they don't want any relationship. Shanti chahiye unko. But spiritual life is not like that. It is full of bliss. Therefore, Lord's gentleness, his smile, his character, and everything related to him are all transcendental. Such manifestation of the internal potency are the reality, of which material shadow is only a temporary representation, from which everyone with proper knowledge must be detached. Hare Krishna. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Canto Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.